this is Terri. Welcome back to my channel. I want to start off by saying thank you so much for everyone who watched and liked the video on Saturday. We are not quite at the 50 likes that Adam is looking for in order for me to agree to get stoned and then with him and record a video before he goes back to school. But I think he's working his channels. I think he sent it to all of his pledge brothers in order to get them on.
Did he really?
He did.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Last I saw, we had I think nearly 25 likes, but we had over 150 views, which is pretty good for the channel. So if you haven't watched it, you might want to. It was pretty funny. And for those of you who want more of Adam, we're mapping out on trying to have him every third episode until he goes back to school. Because apparently people thought he was charming and charismatic and funny and
weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's all of those things. And what's a good segue into today's topic? As I was doing some meditating, I dropped into Child's Pose this morning to do some meditating, and I came up with the idea for today's topic, which is about caution versus fear, risk tolerance, getting outside of our comfort zone, one brave thing. It's not really a topic, it's kind of an amalgamation of topics, but it's inspired by my mom, who was really struggling to get out of the house, and she was really afraid. And I think what it was is my sister was feeding her fear. And I was like, no, it's totally safe to get out, walk around your block, wearing a mask, stepping away from other people. Most people in San Jose, where my mom lives, are very respectful. And I know that around here in Redwood City, I know that people are respectful here and tend to see other people and move away. And my mom got out and got on the phone with me, I think it was last week, and I just talked her off her fear ledge and helped her walk around her block. And since then, she's been getting out more and more, and it's good for her mental health and it's good for her. Speaking of which, Ray, you had some time with Nana today. You're working on a project because you can't do Nana camp. So what are you working on with Nana?
So we're making cookies. We made and rolled out the cookie dough this morning, and we're letting it chill, and we're gonna bake it this afternoon, pretty much right after we're done filming this. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then we're going to decorate them tomorrow.
So if any break, let me know, because I'll be happy to take the broken ones.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Back to today's topic. So last week, after I think my mom either watched the video, read my in-flight newsletter, or walked, I don't know what it was, she sent me a note saying, thank you so much for talking her off the ledge. And she also said a good topic would be bravery, or revisiting the hashtag onebravething, which was the daily challenge back in February. And I thought, yes.
Was that really February?
Mm-hmm, it was. Because January was bye-bye baggage, so I think February was one brave thing.
Wow.
So what I did was I put all of those posts from February onto a Pinterest page, and I'll go ahead and put a link in the description. But if you look for me out on Pinterest, I have a whole bunch of different boards from all the different challenges, and I'll put a link to that out as well, so you can see all of that. Been pretty busy out on Pinterest, which I'm going to talk about a little bit because I'm going to be doing some promotions around my book, Piloting Your Life, and this is really having me step outside my comfort zone. So I thought this would be a great time because there have been a couple of things lately that have made me a little bit nervous between working on some of the promotional stuff that I'm doing with Adam around the book, Piloting Your Life, and then also 4th of July. I am what you would call a calculated risk taker, and I talk about this in my book, Piloting Your Life.
Link in description.
In chapter 12, Taking Risks. And I talk specifically about why I think I'm a calculated risk taker. Some people think, oh my God, you're a helicopter pilot. Isn't that a risky endeavor? It is, but I always go out when the weather is nice. I always make sure that I'm not tired, not stressed out. I take a flight instructor with me to mitigate the risks. So I do all sorts of things to mitigate the risk because I'm a calculated risk taker. there are other things that some people are totally comfortable with that are completely outside of my comfort zone, like I talked about with promoting my book and doing promotions to get people to subscribe to my newsletter or watch this YouTube channel. It's really very uncomfortable comfortable. I'm very uncomfortable with it, largely because I'm not great with self-promotion. And yes, I know I have a YouTube channel branded after myself, and that seems counterintuitive. But the way that I see it is I try to educate through my stories. I like to share information through stories and allow people to draw their own conclusions. I don't like to be told what to do, so I don't want to tell other people what to do. What happens though is that I never actually get to an ask or a call to action. And for some that's very, very easy, but for me that is incredibly uncomfortable because why would that be uncomfortable to me? Because I don't want to appear pushy or schmarmy or too salesy. And so I think it's also how I've been socialized as a woman in this world, is to self-promote is considered a bad thing. And so Adam is going to help me work through that discomfort. And so I write down every day one brave thing that I do. In fact, I have it as one of my habits, my very last one, on my Silk and Sonder habit tracker, link in description. And so every day I try to do one brave thing, and I've been doing this consistently since February, since the One Brave Thing challenge, because I think that bravery is a muscle that we need to develop, and that the more we develop it, the more that we stretch it, the bigger risks that we can take, and the way that we can redefine what we think of as risks. What do you think about this, Ray?
That makes sense. I would group it with like self-discipline or something, where the more you practice it, the better at it you become, and the more easily it comes to you. So yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah, because when I said at the beginning the topic was around fear and caution, bravery, etc., it was my mom who prompted it, but then also 4th of July, because with COVID, I have taken a relatively conservative approach to sheltering in place, going out, exposing ourselves to other people, and knowing that Adam is seeing more people. He used to work at a grocery store, and that was increasing our risk in our household, and Zeke doing the grocery shopping, whereas Ray and I were not doing much of anything or going out. And so it's part of the risk balancing. And I was thinking about why is it that I'm taking this conservative approach? And it really is because I don't want to be a statistic. I don't want to have any sort of short-term or long-term health issues right now. And we're still learning about COVID. We don't know exactly how this all works, how this is going to play out. We are a long ways off from any sort of vaccine. Every month that we give ourselves and give our healthcare systems time to learn more, it gives us greater opportunity to effectively treat this and reduce the long-term health effects. And I'd like to push that off as long as possible to allow the healthcare system to learn more, develop better treatments, develop some treatments, and get there. And I just don't want to be one of those. And so where 4th of July comes in as a challenge is I'm seeing so many people who are just done with COVID, who are done with sheltering in place, and we are not even close to the end of this. And so it's really challenging for me to see some of my friends who are going away. And it's like when they get back, I feel like we're going to have to start over with a 14-day quarantine or a 14-day distancing for some people that had become part of our quarantine. And that is going to be really uncomfortable to deal with some of our friends. And I don't like that I'm being put into this situation, but I respect other people's decisions to go places, but I'm not going to take on that risk because they've been around a lot of other people, and I'm just not willing to take that on. What do you think, Ray?
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, because one of the things is going to affect you. So we'll look into how we're going to deal with it. And it is, once again, it's not coming out of any sort of fear. It's just, as I said, I don't want to be a statistic. I don't have time to be sick right now. I got way too much stuff going on. And I also don't want to have long-term health effects. I don't think you do either, do you, Ray?
No, I already have enough health shit going on. I don't need more.
It all comes down to, we all have different risk tolerance levels, and what I tried to do with the One Brave Thing challenge for people in February, and what I continue to challenge myself with now, is to continue to build that bravery muscle, expand my risk tolerance, better understand the risk balancing approach, and not letting it be fear that gets in my way, but being very rational about what it is. But in the cases where I want to be doing something, kind of like with, I want to sell more books. I want more people reading my weekly in-flight newsletter, and I want more people watching this video. The messaging around it, I want to get out. And the only way to do that is really to promote. So I'll be working with Adam as a little bit of my crutch to help me work through that. And I appreciate, having him around and having a project to work on with him. Speaking of which, I thought of a project you and I could work on, Ray, since we're struggling to find common ground to spend time together. And I'm hoping that because you and I have such a love for reading, that maybe we could find some books that we could read and then we can talk about, and maybe we can have an episode here or there where we talk about some of our favorite books and what we're reading. What do you think? Yeah. And that means we don't have to go anywhere, which ties into the other. Fortunately, right now, I have some other things that are grounding in terms of some client work. I have 3 different biotech clients that I'm working with. One is a business and IT strategy, which I love. It's an early stage company. It's super fun. Takes in all of my skills and experience. One is an infrastructure qualification, which, it's always fun to do something new and interesting. And I've done most of it, but some of it is new and I have to be super creative. And another one is a system selection. So that's both grounding and challenging. All of these projects are both grounding and challenging, which makes it easier for me to practice bravery and getting outside of my comfort zone with some of the other aspects of my life. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, unless, Ray, you've got anything else?
No, we're chill.
Yep.
Trying to keep the video short.
Because it's Monday, and Mondays I have heavy client meetings and I need to go get ready for those. So that'll be grounding as I work on all of the other tough stuff. So as always, before I sign off, just thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please share with friends who might be interested. Definitely touch that bell to get notifications. That just feels so yucky asking for that. And as always, let go of perfection. Let go of perfection. Take some risks. And above all else, have some fun.